Purchasing a condo is a popular choice here in Winnipeg. They're low maintenance, they offer great amenities, and you typically can get more for your money with a condo rather than a detached home. So today I'm going to go over the differences when it comes to looking at and purchasing condos. I'm Shayla Duncan with the Queen Team and RE/MAX Professionals here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So today we are going to be discussing purchasing condos and kind of the difference between when you're looking at condos, things you should notice, and the difference when it comes to the purchase process. So the first difference I'm going to talk about today is condo fees. So condo fees are a reoccurring additional monthly payment that you will be paying as an owner of a condo. And so condo fees range from $250 all the way up to over $1,000. However, typically we're going to see on average condo fees are between $300, $350 to about $550. Now, from complex to complex, the amount of the condo fee as well as what this condo fee includes will differ. Typically, we're going to see things such as your contribution to the reserve fund, management, snow removal and landscaping. Maybe you'll see parking in there. We'll see insurance for the common areas. Sometimes you'll see some of your utilities included. So your water might be included, your hydro might be included. Again, it's really case to case depending on the complex, what is included and what the cost of those fees are. So when you're looking at condos, it's really important to note the condo fee, but also note what it includes, because you might look at two different condos and they could have a $50 difference in their monthly fees, but one might include all your utilities and the other one might not include any. So keep in mind, while having an additional monthly fee might seem a bit scary or unnecessary, when it comes to the general upkeep of the building, let's say the shingles need to be replaced, this won't be up to you solely as a unit owner to deal with. So the cost of this will come from the reserve fund. You won't have to worry about hiring the contractor to come replace the shingles. It's all going to be out of your hands and nothing you need to worry about. So while we're kind of on the topic of reserve fund, that is another difference when it comes to purchasing a condo. So a reserve fund is essentially like a big savings account or bank account for that complex. So each unit owner that's in that complex is going to be paying a percent of their monthly condo fees into the reserve fund. And over time, this reserve fund gradually builds and builds and builds. And then when it comes to things such as the roof or maybe the siding needs to be replaced, something like that, the cost of those things comes from the reserve fund. So it's really important when you're buying a condo to keep in mind, what is the reserve fund at? Is it at a healthy balance? You will get a period of time in which you'll get to review all the documentation, including the reserve fund study, which will kind of lay out what the balance of the reserve fund is, what the ideal balance should be, and maybe any upcoming repairs that they're projecting for the next few years. So if your reserve fund is low, what happens? So let's say there are some major repairs that need to happen to the building, and you have a low reserve fund that can't cover those repairs. This is when a special assessment will be charged to unit owners. So a special assessment is an additional amount of money that each unit owner will have to pay based on their percent of ownership. It really can vary the amount depending on what the project is that needs to be done. So for example, it could be, you know what, again, the roof needs to be repaired. We don't have enough money in the reserve fund. So we're going to charge each unit owner a special assessment of $3,000. So this can be paid up front in one bulk payment, or it could be stretched out over a period of time and paid alongside your condo fees. So the next difference when it comes to condos is that there are rules and regulations. This is a shared building and you do need to follow those rules and regulations. So it's just important to keep in mind what works for your lifestyle and the things that you need to be allowed. So for example, maybe pets. We often see that buildings will be pet friendly, but maybe they're only cat friendly, or we often see restrictions on the size of dogs that are allowed. So this isn't the end all be all. If you had a dog that's maybe 5-10 pounds over the weight limit, you can always see if the board will make an allowance for your pet to be allowed in the building. But again, at the end of the day, it's important to know the rules and know if they fit for your lifestyle. So the next difference when it comes to the purchase process of a condominium is the 7-day cooling off period. So once you have come to acceptance with the seller and the seller has provided you with all the required disclosure documentation pertaining to the condo you are purchasing, you will start what is called the 7-day cooling off period. So during this 7 days, you will be able to review all the documentation for that condo, things such as the reserve fund study, bylaws, rules and regulations, the budget, the financials, all the documentation like that you will be going through during this time. So during this time, a buyer can back out of the deal for any reason without penalty. A buyer cannot forfeit going through the 7-day cooling off period. It is a mandatory period that all buyers purchasing a condo have to go through. So purchasing a condo does come with a lot of differences rather than purchasing a home. It's important to go in with your eyes wide open and know everything you can about purchasing a condo so you can make an informed decision of what works best for you. I'm Shayla Duncan with the Queen Team and RE/MAX Professionals. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.